Welcome back, everybody, to the LCS Challengers League, where we are here with our Subway best-of-3 sidekick after FlyQuest Challengers made a very competitive game into a win against Supernova. We got to think deep, Beatdown. What are some things that we want to see? It is Fearless Draft, of course, so got to get our heads thinking, heads turning about what Supernova could potentially do to come back into this game.
I'm trying to think right now. I'm trying to remember what Shoji has played in the split on the past. I wanted to bait you because I told you I would say Zed, but I actually couldn't think of another champion, so I will say Zed.
Okay, so Zed.
This is definitely for fun. This is definitely for fun because Shoji has played that champ a lot. When I first saw him on Talk of Gaming, like, oh my god, that was like 2 years ago now.
Yep.
He had a pretty monstrous game. Upset 100 Thieves next. If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you ever beat 100 Thieves next, that's a story in itself, and Shoji definitely had a couple of those here on a lot of the teams that he was playing on. And yeah, was actually known as a big assassin player, eventually kind of playing some supportive things, and I think we gave him the moniker of like the Swiss Army knife of Tier 3, where he's able to kind of play a lot of different champions. And even though he's like maybe narrowed that pool a little bit over these past couple of years, we've seen him branch out a little bit more and really take on a lot of different positions and hats here on this new Supernova team.
I mean, I was going to say, even last year he was a Swiss Army knife. I'm pretty sure he had the most unique champions played. Because I remember we had a graphic about it where it was like 26. We counted the Katarina, even though he didn't actually mean to play that. But he's played a lot of champions. And he was excited about Fearless for that exact reason. I asked him about it before the split started. Because, he's like, yeah, man, I can play a lot of champs. Like, this is perfect.
Yeah, the Zed. That would be really fun. Cool. A big throwback to come back. If you're even looking a little bit more realistic almost, like you can think something like Silas, where he has had a ton of success on over the past couple of years. It's not super meta right now, but who knows? Maybe something that could be played. My pick would probably actually be towards Kenvi in the jungle. I like the Viego a lot. I think it actually worked very well, especially at the start of the game.
Are you going to say Kindred?
I mean, come on, you got to, right? It's like the layup. You got to take it, right? If you're
just the easy one.
Hey, look, he played super well on it yesterday against Wildcard. He had a great Graves game as well, although that was banned away from him in that Game 1 draft.
But they were both banned, yeah.
Yeah, this guy loves his marksman junglers. He loves his carry junglers. We just got to see him on that again because that was the avenue for Supernova to take the win, and we got very close to that becoming a reality.
100%. And I got to say, too, especially seeing more of what Kenvi was like before he went to the LCS also kind of got me excited to see him in that same vein, too. Yeah, sometimes there's a game where you play Sedge, there's a game where you play Poppy, Vi, and champs like that, but I want to see the carries. After that Graves game, he was like 16 and 2, 17, I'm pretty sure broke the record for the highest kill.
I was just about to say. I'm pretty sure they said that on the broadcast. He broke the record for most kills in this season. So
there you go.
Hey, if you could do that again, we're headed to Game 3, so I'd be happy about that.
Me too.
I believe we have a graphic as well for the champions that were picked in that last one. Of course, it is Fearless Draft as we are getting ready for that next game to take place. Once again, no Gragas, no Viego. Those were big pieces for Supernova. No Smolder versus Jet this time around either.
Yeah, and I think I really did like the draft that FlyQuest got for themselves. And you get a really strong top side that was able to get Smolder into that mid to late game. And honestly, for most of that early game, they didn't have to do very much. Except for Surdy getting the solo bolos on the top side. So now I'm excited to see what FlyQuest are going to grab for themselves next. I always like watching Rocco draft. Usually he cooks up some good stuff.
I mean, you got a great first 3 picks that last rotation in the first
that
game,
was illegal, right? But it happens.
Yeah, you opt for the Senna trade, and then you end up getting the Karma and the Jinzhou over. Becomes a little bit of a problem, especially as we head towards that late game. So we'll see if Supernova can try to recreate that situation on the blue side this time around. So they'll have the ability to lock in something first. FlyQuest know that. They're taking away both the Karma and the Smolder.
Yeah, and they're not afraid of the Senna anymore because it's not pickable. That's why you're seeing the Nautilus taken away, just to make sure that FlyQuest don't get that strong pairing as well on their side. So now, first pick, what do you got for us? Varus has been a pretty common one. Something Array is definitely comfortable and has played with. So I'm imagining that's probably the route we're going for. Or maybe we go a different route and we just pick jungle.
I wouldn't be
Varus.
I wouldn't be super surprised to see the Varus locked in again. I mean, it's just been so strong, right? every single game, I feel like this champion has so much value, whether it's lethality or on hit. We've been seeing more of the on hit recently, and Array's definitely somebody who is able to play it very well. He's 3-0 on the season with this pick, and no surprise to see it locked in.
Yeah, and okay, so it is going to be the Kalista coming through. It was banned in Game 1, and it's banned in many series that we've been seeing so far. And it's going to be the Volibear for Shaden too. Shaden being a player who we know was really good mechanically when we first saw him in Challengers last year, has been playing more of this facilitator role, has really looked good on Poppy, Sedge. Now Volibear kind of fits that bill as well, being really strong in that early game.
Yeah, we'll see what the response is for Supernova on the other side. Rumble going to get locked in early. Make sure that Surdy doesn't get his hands on that. Wouldn't be surprised to see a jungler getting locked in right now, but instead they're going to finish the bot lane with the Renata to go alongside Array's Varus.
I kind of like that because the Kalista Renata is just such a premier pairing in the bot lane, and Varus Renata is a combo we've seen many times in the past as well. So it's also that denial just to make sure that you don't really get a matchup that you're hoping for. And I think now you can go into that second rotation ban away something like the Blitzcrank, and I think you're feeling pretty good about that bot lane matchup.
Yeah, well, being able to stifle Kalista in the early game, absolutely monumental in order to make sure that FlyQuest do not run away with this one like, they were almost able to do in that Game 1 before Supernova brought it back a little bit. Fortunately, that Kindred is taken away, so my dreams in the best of 3 sidekick are going to be slashed.
I'm sorry.
Still a chance for the Zed though, I will say.
I mean, yeah, that definitely wasn't that serious. I would be amazed if Shochi pulled that one out.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be crazy.
But it would be cool. I would get very excited about it. I wouldn't get excited for their chances, but it is what it is. I thought you were going to say the Graves was going to get banned. I'm not sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry, man. You don't get to win today.
It's okay. Yeah, there's still some very solid champions for Kenvi. The Lee Sin is something he's been known on for so many years. The things like the Jin Zhao, which was picked by Shaden in the last game, still available. And now with those off the table, FlyQuest aren't able to steal it away. So that could also be an option here if they wanted a little bit more of an early game, prowess or presence in their composition.
Yeah, and like the Ahri ban as well, just denying a combo. We could still see, wow, Thresh. And I think he's gotten buffed, I want to say the last 2 patches, definitely on 14.5. So if I'm remembering correctly, oh man, I really didn't think this champ would be played. I know his play does a little more damage, and there is definitely something else. So it is an old pairing that we've seen before. You can play really aggressive in that bottom lane, and this is an interesting jungle support pairing too, because this kind of allows Shaden in these team fights to actually go a little deeper than normal, and then you can get saved by that Dark Passage.
Yeah, it also opens up a pretty strong 2v2 for Sejet and Chime. I remember back in Season 5, this was the premier bottom lane to go with the Kalista. You go Kalista Thresh or Kalista Blitzcrank, and you'd be able to dominate a lot of these 2v2s, and that is exactly what FlyQuest Challengers are going to try and accomplish here with, of course, the champions they've selected in the bot lane, and also a Shaden on this Udyr. We see a Nico getting locked in here for Shochi, and it will be Wukong to round out the draft for Supernova.
Yeah, so you got some pretty good all-in potential coming through from Supernova's draft. I really like the Nico and the Wukong. So you're playing against something short-range like the Kalista, so it feels really good. And, of course, into melees, so it feels really good, and it feels easy to be able to go all in and try and just blow her up before anything can happen. And because there's no Kalista as well on her side, you don't have the bailout to make these team fights easier. Oh, wow, they locked it.
Man, this is a pick that Quad has dominated on here in this season. And I know he's very well known for playing that Cassiopeia, so very well-rounded composition again. I will say, Beat, they got the early game, and then they have some really good scaling solo laners to make sure that they're able to match up to what Supernova have to offer in team fights.
Yeah, I will say Supernova, they definitely have a big wombo combo. You look at all the ults across the board, and basically post level 6, that's when this team fight really starts to come online, and that's what they're playing for. Bot lane matchup will be very interesting as well, and mid, of course, is super important because Quad has just been the best performing player in the league so far. This is a champ. You said it.
Sacrifice this first dragon, though, as FlyQuest is going to be able to push it out with their bottom lane. Jed and Chime, after getting pushed in a lot to start the game off, really able to work their way back into this one. Jed now at 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is you have your jungler with you, Shaden trying to get that first Drake. You have the tier 2 boots as well, which is really nice for the Kalista. So you feel a lot more confident about your ability to skirmish, fight, and things like that. Looking at the rest of the map here, though, things are really pretty much even for both of these teams. Mid lane is still going in favor of Shochi when it comes to the push, which is kind of what we expected. And that wombo combo you talked about with the Pop Blossom is still super important here. We're getting to the point where pretty much the entirety of Supernova is about to hit level 6. And that's really what this comp is all about. Pressing your ult buttons and hoping you get a couple kills as a result of it.
You mentioned the wombo combo at the start of the draft tier beatdown, and we are finally at the stage where that can start to become a reality. Looks like we are finally back live. Sorry to everybody had a couple of tech delays. We are still in this game, 7 minutes in. Some kills happen. Now the important things to note is that both of these carries for both of these teams are doing incredibly well. Both Shochi and Array and Quad and Sajed each having some good gold to their name.
Yeah, just a little bit. It definitely hasn't been a quiet early game. You can see, and across the board, besides some minor differences, things are pretty much dead even in this game. And when we talk about how that looks, I think with the damage, particularly the rumble on the side of Supernova, I need to hold that thought. Shochi and Kenvi, they have an invade.
See, when Shaden spots Kenvi out, it's going to be an attempt to steal, and he does get the big Krug. It looks like he will be able to escape it rather soundly. Quad opting, instead of roaming up to the top side to push that wave in, try to make Shochi lose as much CS as he possibly can.
Yeah, a little bit was sacrificed, and I like the call from Shaden. The clear recognition that Shochi is roaming, so he doesn't actually try to all-in Kenvi. He just tries to flip the Krugs, and is like, okay, I'm just going to walk away now. So, but I like the move from Shochi as well, because this is kind of what we wanted to see. Shochi and Kenvi syncing up, because they have the big combo, and they're just going to go ahead and use it.
What a nice CC lock there from Shochi. Quad wasn't even able to use his flash for the Pop Blossom. Just bursted right down on top of him. Unfortunately, not enough damage to take him down, but Shochi able to get at least a good chunk onto the enemy mid laner.
Yeah, and Quad, good for him knowing that Kenvi wasn't close enough to really do any damage, and holding that petrifying gaze pretty much guaranteed that there wasn't a world where Kenvi was going to be able to dive that. So he gets to continue laning. He gets to continue on with his game, at least for now. We're 2 minutes till the next Drake comes through. That's likely going to be the objective. Now we see both of these teams play for. FlyQuest already getting the first one means they'll have a pretty easy time stacking towards that soul. And this Cassiopeia only gets stronger. Once we see that Rod start to come through, she will be a little more formidable in skirmishes.
Still some time though, and with that, I would expect Supernova to fight around to this next dragon. They want to make sure the stacking of the souls does not go FlyQuest's way when Supernova might have this early game advantage. And preventing a situation where Quad is able to just take over a fight before he has all those items, I think would be beneficial. So we see some nice vision being placed here by Sajed and making sure that the Dragon Pit is always on watch. But I'm interested to see what these next 90 seconds look like for Supernova if they can get a good setup around this Drake.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Quad, he backed. He's coming back to lane with the Rod of Ages, so it is beginning to stack. That does mean he's in an okay spot to start skirmishing right now. And I'm kind of looking at what people have item-wise in general. You're seeing some last-minute recalls come through from Chime, potentially from Sajed as well. So there could be that extra bit of gold to spend, get as many stats as you can so that they can fight for this Drake.
Yeah, we'll be Supernova grabbing the grubs instead. Make sure that they get a little bit of extra pushing power, and then we'll see what the dragon looks like. Still a lot of time. As we said, we see Sajed going back to base, picking up a little bit more in terms of items after his reset. Will be Kenvi securing all three. We'll see what the setup looks like. They're sending Faisal back. He doesn't have teleport, but it looks like he's headed right back to the top lane instead of going for a fight.
Oh, I like this one.
Oh, wow. Nice hook on to Diamond. He has to use the flash to get away, but it doesn't look like he even wants to because he knows it's doomed. Chime picking up a nice kill, getting rewarded for his engage. Meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, Array chunked down to about 30%, and the rest of the squad coming down again. Chime with the flash death sentence forces Array back under his turret. The Flay's not going to connect as the Ghost comes down, but there's the Stormbringer. Shaden going to take it home.
Really nicely done. That's going to guarantee you the Drake for the side of FlyQuest Challengers. And it means they're going to be halfway towards that Dragon Soul. It was a really nice move from Shaden and Chime to be able to get that first move onto the Raptors pit, into that brush to punish anybody for overstepping. That's the really nice thing about Thresh. You make one small positioning error, and it is so very easily punished.
And all of a sudden, that dragon that we were hoping Supernova would have been able to fight for belongs to FlyQuest Challenge. Just take another look at this. Diamond just gets caught.
And this is the angle right here, too. The fact is, Diamond walked in a little late, and he walked in by himself. I mean, his jungler was really far away at the time, so it's just that perfect setup there, and a really nice sync up from Shaden and Chime.
Hey, Chime's back to the top lane now. It goes to mid, goes to bot, now forces a flash at a Faisal as well. Thresh having a tremendous impact on this second game, and Chime doing some good work here for FlyQuest.
He sure has been. He's everywhere at this point. He's been having a lot of impact as a result. Now Sajid is here, and Shaden is covering just to be sure that a dive doesn't come through. And in fact, he's just going to show himself to dissuade it. Like, hey guys, look, we know I'm hiding in this brush. I know you're hiding in that brush. Why don't we just call this whole thing off?
Yeah, looks like they're going to back off for now. Kenby still hovering around. Sky Splitter going to force him away as it does spot the Wukong out. And we're right back to a even game state in terms of gold, right? Beatdown, but FlyQuest, they've been able to get the first two dragons. That's important in terms of making sure that they're able to get this game to a longer state. Yeah. And they have a lot of those scaling players, especially Quad and Surdy, continuing to get stronger and stronger as this game goes on.
And I quickly want to praise the vision game from FlyQuest Challengers as well. It just feels like every play Kenby is trying to make this game, and he's on a ward. They see it coming, and Shaden's always there.
Yeah, Kenby hasn't really been able to get that involved. I don't even... Has he used his ultimate yet? Maybe one time around somewhere, but I feel like as soon as he's hit level 6, FlyQuest has been a little bit more careful over where they're putting their pieces when they decide to go for fights. And that means that Supernova haven't been able to utilize that Wombo that we were talking about being so strong for them. Instead, it's them always kind of on the back foot. Chime specifically leading the way to make sure everybody on Supernova feels a little bit unsafe.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. Like, you can see the rotation here from the bot lane as Herald is spawning. That moving of pressure from FlyQuest to the other side of the map, and now it's a dive.
Oh man, Faisal tried to clear out the wave, but not even the equalizer is going to save him. No minions, no problem here for FlyQuest. Wow. They're going to get one and force just one flash to make sure they get away.
Level 1 volley ult nowadays only shuts off the tower for 2 seconds, but 2 seconds is all they need. Every play for FlyQuest is working, and now they get the Rift Herald off it as well. They fricked up almost every neutral objective since the game started, Braves. Now Herald's going to be able to be a way for them to grab more gold by knocking down some of these outer turrets.
Oh. Surdy able to escape. FlyQuest adding to their list of neutral objectives, this time picking up the Rift Herald. And we'll see where they put it, trying to get some extra gold. Guys, you gotta get the eye.
Boys.
Okay,
okay.
Shaden's got it. Shaden's got it. Okay.
Maybe it's a conversation.
We've definitely seen situations where that does not happen. And so,
yeah. I wonder if it was a conversation where he's like, hey, do you want it? Nope. You sure? Nope. And he's like, fine.
Yeah, Shaden's like, oh, but I like using my sweeper. I like, being able to but he's gonna have to hold on to that for a little bit longer.
He gets the fast recall at least. That ends up being super worth. And a minute 30 to the next Drake means you can also go ahead and drop that in the mid lane, as we've seen teams do for time immemorial. You drop it mid, you walk to Drake. It's just so simple.
Yeah. And another minute 20 for that opportunity. And looks like Shaden will have it in his inventory. Will not time out before that objective spawns. And Supernova, they have the Wombo team comp. They can win a team fight if things go their way. Have not found the opportunity to do so. And all of a sudden, FlyQuest on the verge of picking up Soul Point. And if that happens, things start to get a little bit nerve-wracking here for Supernova. They're going to be forced to take fights instead of taking fights that they want. That is definitely not, a situation where this team is winning a lot of the time with the champions that they have. Yeah,
worth mentioning, Supernova's Wamba, it requires a lot of them together. And FlyQuest have been looking for these really small skirmishes, and oh my god.
It could have been dangerous if Chime landed that hook.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to be throwing them out, and they have to respect it. And you can see, too, on the bottom side, actually, Faisal's just chilling in a brush, and he's been there for a while. So getting the first move here for Supernova is really important just because of all the CC they have. And there's honestly just a really good chance that FlyQuest forego the Drake and just focus on dropping this mid-tier 1 with the Herald.
Yeah, they still have it. They're still looking for it. They also have a 2-Dragon lead, so they can afford to give this up if they want. Supernova, maybe not as much. They're going to use the Rift Herald, see how aggressive they become in terms of trying to take this tier 1 down. In comes Shaden, he's charging in under the turret. He's going to jump out quick enough, but in comes the Berserk. Here comes the Wombo. The Pop Blossom only finds one, but Shaden is in a lot of trouble and gets taken down. Quad at about 300 HP with dishing out damage, but now has to get away. Can be dashing forward, forcing the flash out of Chime, but a nice hook by the Thresh in response will send Kenby down to below 40% HP. It was just the one kill, but it's the jungler for FlyQuest, which means Supernova can head towards the dragon.
And they finally stabilize. They deny the soul point coming through, and they show us the fight we were kind of hoping for when we saw this team comp from the side of Supernova. The Wombo really managed to come out strong from the side of Supernova, and they're going to be able to get an Ocean Drake for it. And now, this could be the start of a beautiful story for them. You ever stacked 4 Ocean Drakes in a row, Grapes?
Oh,
it feels amazing.
So yeah. And even though there's not like champions that like do really well with it, like, you know, if you had like a Vladimir or something like, and you have 4 Ocean Drakes, the game's just over. There was a game in qualifiers where that happened.
Really?
It ended at that point, yeah. But still able to sustain, very, very important. FlyQuest going to want to make sure that doesn't happen. And it starts with Shaden continuing to stay on the aggressive, forcing Shochi out of this lane.
Yeah, saving grace for FlyQuest Challengers. A quad is level 12 right now. He has the Seraphs complete. We're less than 2 minutes away from the Roa being complete as well. And that's really the big spike you're looking for as a Cassiopeia. So he is going to be in a really strong position where if these fights can go slowly and they can start on FlyQuest terms, like with a Chime hook or a Shaden stun, and Quad can just DPS down, that's really FlyQuest, oh my god, their best chance.
Man, I hold my breath every time a death sentence comes out because Chime has been so good at finding opportunities. Putting Supernova in a little bit of uncomfortable situation. Going to do it again with a Hex Flash. Not going to connect this time around, and now this is the time for SN to go in. Kenby pops the cycle. He's going to flash forward to find another round of 2. Here comes Shochi. 3-man Pop Blossom, and Quad is taken out of the fight. Root lands onto Chime as well. He doesn't have a flash. Will get taken down by Array, and Supernova find 2 big kills.
Yeah, their front to back is just so strong, and they managed to grab so much gold off the back of that, extending their lead to 2,200, and they should have a pretty easy time threatening this tier 1 turret in the mid lane. Nice TP from Faisal to help ensure that that one comes through, and it's just Supernova finding another win on the map.
And that's their team comp working out. You know, as soon as Chime misses a hook, that is the opportunity for them to go in. Looks like Shochi could be in a little bit of trouble here. Shaden looks like he guessed right on the clone, and that could be bad here for the Nico. Shaden used the flash already. One more chop should be enough damage.
Oh,
he doesn't
yep.
even need it. Using that Q to close the gap and finish it off 1v1.
Nicely done there to be able to capitalize and get a kill back into your pocket. But the situation overall still hasn't changed for the side of Supernova. And the big thing to fight for really is going to be this dragon in the next couple of minutes. So I'm imagining things will slow down a little bit before then. Again, Quad still in a really strong position on his own. For FlyQuest, it's just about getting through the first couple seconds of this team fight. That Pop Blossom needs to get very little value. That Cyclone, it needs to get very little value. And then you need these fights to go slower, to go longer, so that Sajed can build up these spheres and go for a big Ren, and that Quad can just keep spitting out poison.
And you're almost looking maybe for FlyQuest to be able to find a fight on their own terms so they can prevent those really good ultimates from coming out. The problem is they don't have a ton of super high quality, consistent, hard engage. You have Chime landing a hook, you have Shaden maybe going for a Stormbringer over on a flank. So right now it is kind of still Supernova with the opportunity to take whatever fight they want. And we saw here in the last couple of minutes, that is what has allowed them to get back into this one and take advantage of the situation that they're in.
Right, so it is going to be tough. That's why you're seeing Chime use the Hex Slash, use his Flash to just try and find whatever hook he can land. Because this game kind of feels like a Blitzcrank game where it's like, well, when you're not landing hooks, there's not a whole lot going on here. But when you hit them, they feel amazing, Graves. And that's why Chime, he's just going to keep fishing until he lands on something. But it's also imperative that FlyQuest are able to get to objectives first. If you can play from Fog as a group, it is easier for Chime to be able to get those hooks because they'll catch you by surprise.
Yeah, and similar to some other games that we've seen here tonight, if you single one person out, all of a sudden the Wamba becomes exponentially less valuable, right? If there's no Nico, things get bad. If there's no Wukong, not as reliable of an engage, not a lot of damage. So if you can just find that one hook, things could go your way. And we'll see if Chime can find it with this dragon spawning in 45 seconds.
Well, Supernova do have the first look, but they are going to need to do something about that next wave coming through. And I like this from Supernova. They are trying to get pressure onto FlyQuest, who look like they're trying to flirt with the idea of starting the Baron. I mean, with Cass and Kalista, you do take it kind of quickly, but we got to fight.
Find the hook on a Kenby. That's going to force the engage already. Kenby uses the W to try to escape. A nice handshake coming out from Diamond. Here comes the Blossom once again finding 3. They lock down Chime with the piercing arrow. Jed is down for the count as well. Supernova find 3 more kills, and it's time to go to Baron.
Yeah, forget the second Drake. You got 3 for 5 on the side of FlyQuest, or rather on the side of Supernova. So it's going to be really easy for you to take this Baron to the point where FlyQuest aren't even going to bother. They're going to try and just trade it for the soul point, which should go down pretty easily. But that is a small thing compared to what you lost.
Oh, they're actually going to try to contest this dragon. It's just Quad and Shaden. They send a teleport down here for Shochi. The Baron goes down. Now it's a 2v2. We got to head back down towards the Drake. It's at 2,000 HP.
He's just going to smite it, right?
So he'll be able to secure it. And now FlyQuest, they have to decide, do they want to try to fight this out or try to escape? Quad does a lot of damage, but Faisal does too. The Dark Passage will keep him out. And it means that Supernova will instead turn their attention towards the mid lane tier 1. They finally take it down, and they've got themselves a 5,000 gold lead.
Yeah, that one was a little an interesting look, but I like that they all did it as 5. Some people teleported, and the rest walked mid to use the space gain so they can take the mid tier 1. They're going to lose their mid tier 1 as a result. Actually, Array is staying in hopes that he can stall that out a little bit, but he is low mana, and he has a lot of gold to spend. But it's looking like that's enough for them to back off.
Oh man, things got really interesting all of a sudden beatdown in this series. We talked about how Supernova want to try to be in that top echelon of teams, and playing a competitive series against FlyQuest is certainly going to do that to you. FlyQuest still have the opportunity to clinch first place, I believe, with a win over Mirage Alliance, kind of regardless of what happens. But right now, Supernova really making FlyQuest sweat a little bit, and another team that could really fight for contending for that title as we're about to head towards playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty safe to say that Supernova in a very strong position this game. I mean, they have very clear and easy engage options with the Wukong and the Nico. And there isn't really a great response from the side of FlyQuest. Again, it's all on Chime, who's in trouble.
Oh yeah, and he just got caught out. Forced to use that face call is Sajed to make sure his Thresh is able to escape. Supernova now have the Baron. They also have the Void Mites at their assistance. Teleport into the top lane tier 2. Goes Quad to make sure that they don't lose too much, but they still have to be just a little bit cautious, as Supernova doing a good job pushing on multiple lanes.
And you can just see it too. It's so easy. They're going to be able to easily knock down both of these unless FlyQuest commits to one side. And it's looking like they wanted to threaten the middle lane, but right now Diamond's in trouble.
Ooh. Yeah, still has the flash, and it's just the Udyr running him down, so still
nice hook!
Good situation, but there comes the hook!
That's
Here comes
huge.
the re-engage! Array is down already! Pop Blossom finds a lot of members, but remember, Kenby doesn't have the ulti. He doesn't have an opportunity to follow up. FlyQuest find 2 big kills. The 2 big carry for Supernova fall.
Yeah, big shutdown. It does go into Chime's pocket, which feels a little bad, but it's still a great pick. And it's here that it happens too. Array is so focused on trying to get some damage onto Surdy, but he doesn't realize Chime has him locked down. And as soon as the Varus is out of the picture, your Wombo combo doesn't matter anymore because the follow-up damage isn't there.
Man, what another incredible hook there by Chime. Taking down his former lane partner back to the Golden Guardians days in 2022, was it? Man, or 2020, yeah, 2022 summer. And both these players have had a ton time to grow, and right now it's Chime, who is looking very solid for this team. Still a lot of ground to cover. Supernova still had about a 3,000 gold lead, but all of a sudden, the soul spotting in 2 minutes, FlyQuest want to fight, have a good chance to retake the lead in the next few.
Yeah, remember guys, we've seen both sides of the spectrum now with how these comps are working. Chime doesn't land the hook, it's tough. Supernova can go all in, easy game, easy life. Chime lands the hook, they get a kill, easy game, easy life, but for FlyQuest. And that's basically the whole idea at this point.
Exactly, and I think the crucial target there being Array, right? Because even though we're looking at Kenvi and Shochi for landing those ultimates, it's Array who actually has to dish the rest of the damage out after that crowd control has already, forced FlyQuest already, on the retreat, right? And once Array gets one shot, there's very little damage in this composition, especially with Faisal not in a position to do much in that last fight. So we got a minute left until this dragon. Soul for FlyQuest would be huge. It would help keep Surdy and Shaden alive against a composition that really wants to try to burst people 100-0.
Yeah, and I will say, at the moment, Supernova, I'm waiting to see if maybe people are backing to spend gold, because right now, FlyQuest are honestly, even though it's a 4,000 gold lead in favor of Supernova, I mean, look at the items. Sajed is at 3, pretty much matched with Array, the only difference being the Negatron Cloak. Quad is ahead with the Rylai's on top of his other 2 items. There is actually a pretty good fight here for FlyQuest, and yeah, Shochi, he has the angle, but they are going to see him.
Oh, he's hiding as a minion right now.
Oh! They pinged.
Just got spotted out.
Pinged, yeah.
Yep, things looking a little bit more dangerous. We're watching for the hook of Chime. That first one did not connect. Shaden already chunked down low. Can be dashing forward, actually, and it looks like he's going to take a big chunk of damage as a result. The Berserk comes out, not going to find a whole lot. That's already an ultimate from Supernova down before the dragon ends up getting targeted.
And right now, they could flip it, but this would be Soul for FlyQuest. Shochi, he has Flash. The Pop Blossom is the big trigger pull.
Here they go. Here comes the W. Here comes the Pop Blossom. It doesn't find too much, but Kenvi already finding Surdy. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Shaden has fallen. Kenvi has the opportunity to take down the dragon, and he does, denying the soul from FlyQuest Challengers. Chime finds the hook on the Faisal. He has to flash away the bailout. Not going to be able to save him. It is a 2-for-2, but most importantly, Supernova stopped the soul.
It was a really closely contested fight, but it's as you said, it is that second Drake going to Supernova. No Ocean Soul coming through, and let's just look at this one again. The Pop Blossom, despite this being a solid fight for Supernova, it doesn't actually find very much. Watch Shochi right here. He's going to ult, he's going to flash. Sajed flashes away. He pulls away his support, which is why this fight was as close as it was. Sajed was able to free hit on this Kalista and help secure damage alongside Quad.
And things got a little dicey there. I just noticed Kenvi did not have Smite for that. He used a crushing blow with 300 HP on the dragon to make sure that it was able to go down. If that ended up going towards FlyQuest, we're talking about this game very, very differently.
Very true. Now the only thing to play for the next few minutes is going to be the Baron. You can see both teams turning their attention towards this top side of the map. And Shochi now, trying to see what information he can find with Nico W. Array, you're playing with fire, my boy. You need to step back a little bit.
Things so tense right now. If Chime lands another hook onto Array, this game all of a sudden is FlyQuest favored and honestly maybe in winning. So they have to be very careful every time he shows. Nice use of the clone by Kenvi to make sure that he does not give over a Baron, because that's what would have happened if that hook connected.
100%. Now you can see it though, the pressure. It allows FlyQuest to push out mid. They're going to have an easy time just walking their way into Supernova's topside jungle. They're just trying to set up whatever vision they can and see if they can get a pick as well. Oh, Diamond.
Oh, he's out of position. Here comes Shaden. Don't know how Diamond got here, but he might get punished for it. The Berserk finds 3. He's able to flash away and stay alive. And FlyQuest unable to find the pick that they needed to start up the objective. They're positioning towards it right now, but with Supernova still 5 strong, they cannot start it up.
I will say, I'm curious if they try to make something happen. There is no hostile takeover. Diamond used that alongside his flash to save his life. So now with this next mid lane pushed in, I could see them just going ahead and hitting this Baron.
There they go. They're going to start it. They want to start a fight on their own terms because they know when Supernova does that, things do not end well. Teleport in from Shochi. He's here to join the fight, but the Baron's already at 6,000 HP. Chime finds the hook onto Faisal. He's already going to get bursted down. Kenvi dashing forward. We're still waiting for the engage. Shochi only finds the Pop Blossom onto one. Surdy goes down.
Hook.
Chime very low, but he finally will fall thanks to the final blooming blows of the side of Shochi. He will go down in response. It is another kill going over to Jed. And 2 are down for Supernova, 2 are down for FlyQuest, but they're right back to the objective.
I mean, the jungler and the 2 damage dealers are up. This is going to be an easy Baron for the side of Supernova. It's going to have to be a miracle steal coming through. Kenvi's in there.
Blast coming over the pit. Can he get it?
He got it!
Secured! Supernova grabbed the Baron. Kenvi will die, but he does not care a damn bit as Supernova stay alive in this game.
What a clutch steal coming through. As long as Diamond and Array can walk away, it will be so worth it, and it's looking like they're going to be able to make it happen. What a play coming through from Kenvi.
Woo! I say save the game when they're up 5,000 gold, but it really feels like we're getting to a position where FlyQuest are able to use their carries to scale. Taking a look at this fight again, Chime once again starting things off with a great hook.
Right, and these fights for Supernova, I mean, FlyQuest are taking them so well because, remember, Shochi needs to start things off with the Pop Blossom, but so much was already done by FlyQuest before that Nico ult actually ended up coming through. So this should have been all but FlyQuest, but you saw the damage from Array. You saw Kenvi being able to get in the pit, and I mean, very boldly with the low health that he had, and was able to, alongside the rest of his teammates, be able to quickly smite that away.
Shaden just smited a little bit too early. He was anticipating Kenvi going for it first. Fortunately for him, did not end up happening. But all of a sudden, Supernova have to be careful once again. The Soul up once more for themselves. And it's spawning in 30 seconds. So Supernova have to recover quickly.
That's right. Shochi's currently a caster minion. Could look to set up something. He has the flash back up. So that flash Pop Blossom is such a big part of Supernova's game. Is up and available for them.
Look at Quad on the flank as well. Supernova pushing straight forward. Wanting to make sure they can shove this wave out before they go towards the Dragon. It's been a bunch of 50-50s in a row. We might as well see one again.
Look at Shochi.
Transformed as the minion, looking over the wall. Just a little bit of a bait with the W, as now the Dragon going to get started up.
And he's just looking for whatever angle he can, but Surdy has marked him, making sure he can't find that flank, that big clutch team fight. This is the soul for FlyQuest if they're able to get it, but it's Supernova who has the first touch.
Here comes Shaden dashing in. It's going to Kenvi securing it once again. Another victory on the Smite fight. Supernova picking up their 3rd Ocean Drake of the game. Now the fight on the other side. A big petrifying gaze coming out from Quad, but finds the flash on top and to make sure he goes down. Pop Blossom doesn't find much. Sajed still at full HP. Array has the lethal temp proc and is looking to chase down the rest of FlyQuest challengers. Chime has to get away. Throws the hook out, but it will not matter. Shochi finds the kill, and Supernova win the fight.
Supernova still looking good. We have the teleport to the top side as well. Faisal just ensuring that he can help escort this next set of waves while his team will use what's left of this Baron buff to knock down the tier 3 turret in the mid lane. This could be the final push, and Supernova could be taking us to a game 3.
Faisal does not have Baron buff. He does not have those empowered minions on the top lane. He has to have the rest of the team join him, but the Baron buff has just expired. It will be 2 inhibitors at the very least, but with Quad respawning in 10 seconds, Supernova gonna go back, reset, and try to close this game out on the next Baron.
Well, there's gonna be supers pushing mid and top, for the next 4 minutes, or 5 minutes. And remember that thing I said like 15 minutes ago?
Yep.
About 4 Ocean Drakes. It's looking like a very real possibility now for the side of Supernova. And I mean, that would pretty much solidify the game for the... Again, they've been up 4 or 5k the last 15-20 minutes. FlyQuest, they've been making it very close. They've been finding a lot of clutch fights, clearly understanding how Supernova want to play the game and forcing fights on their own terms instead.
And now it's not even just about the Wombo here for Supernova, right? Now Array is at a huge power spike right now, working towards another item, already has the Terminus and the Rage Blade. And with that Ocean Dragon, with the Ocean Soul, he's going to be able to regenerate so much. Anyone on FlyQuest who tries to get on top of him might not be able to win out in a 1v1.
Yeah, and you can see it too. He's building, he has the Negatron Cloak in his inventory. The Terminus gives him a lot of resistances. It has been buffed, so it's easier to stack it up now. It only takes, what, like 5 or 6 auto attacks. It's really fast. So he's going to be getting the maximum value of that item very, very quickly in these team fights. And he is actually pretty hard to kill, as you say.
Just has to be careful. As long as he does not get hooked.
Yeah.
Then we're chilling. Just don't get hooked. You can 1v1 quad. You can 1v1 probably Sajed and still win. I don't know about the hook though. If you're getting stuck 1v5, quad looks like he's gonna try to get away with the teleport. Will be able to. Shochi just a little bit too late with the tangle barbs.
Yeah, that would have been a really clutch catch out there. Quad is just gonna be forced to run away from that one. Now it's just gonna give another opportunity. Supernova, they can escort some of these waves and use this priority to focus vision on this top side. You just want to make FlyQuest fight for every inch of vision they have to play for, because this Baron is the next play in the 40 seconds.
Have position around it now. Gold lead up to 6,500.
Wow.
Wait, look at Sajed. He has to cleanse after the Chant of Corruption comes out from Array. That's a big cooldown, and now Supernova looks like they can go in. Sturdy gonna get singled out 1v5 and taken down before the fight even starts. Shaden the quad trying to do something on the backside. Pop Blossom not gonna find anything again. Shaden has to use the Stormbringer to escape. Shochi's in a bad spot. He has to flash. Quad still buying some space though, making sure that Supernova can't go too far.
That's what is tough. Supernova look like they want to go for the Baron. I mean, Array is full health. He is very strong. They'll take it quickly, but FlyQuest, they have to respect that. You can see it. Quad is pushing mid, and then they're going to go ahead and try to contest this.
Okay, FlyQuest is going to get his reset off. Supernova making their way towards the Baron. FlyQuest fighting 4v5. Surdy's teleport not up for around 20 seconds until he respawns. And it looks like because of that, and the teleport's coming in, Supernova going to claim another Baron buff for themselves and be in a great position to fight for this ultimate Ocean Soul.
That's right, it's Ocean Soul no matter who picks it up, Grapes. So FlyQuest, they're just making the call to let this Baron go, not risk getting aced before the Soul comes through. And now that's just going to be what all their focus is on. This is basically going to be the fight that decides it all. So it's just about spending what gold you have, buying the elixirs you need, and getting the best setup you can hope for.
Every time I see these 3 dragons for each side for a fight for the soul, I think of like Game 7 of the NBA Finals. We're gearing up for the final battle potentially.
Yeah.
And Supernova right now in a good position to take things home. They've got an 8,000 gold lead. They have 3 of those Ocean Drakes, which would mean that FlyQuest's gonna have a hard time killing them if they get a 4th. It's gonna get started up. Supernova might just get this for free. Surdy in no position to go for the Shaden on the other side of the map.
Yeah, no teleports, no nothing. Wow, FlyQuest, they're just going to go ahead and let this go uncontested, and they recognize if they get wiped, it's GG, well played, we're going to Game 3, but what team fight that they're hoping for, I'm not 100% sure. This Ocean Soul, you have a lot of burst damage, so it could be the belief that the healing over time wouldn't be as impactful against their comp specifically. It's pretty much the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, that was the lamest Game 7 of all time. I was like, I was so ready for it.
Yeah, you were ready for the scrap
last year. Corey Seager just hit a massive home run. The game was over in the first inning. So we're getting something very similar here this time around. It seems Supernova have the soul. They don't have the game yet though. Hook comes out from Chime. That was pretty scary. Renata ulti also unleashed. His Chime a little bit stuck here. Gonna have to use the Fate's Call to escape. Tier 2 is down. So is the Equalizer though, and that means that Faisal won't have it for a potential game-ending fight.
So it's tough though. A big ult forced out for Shaden, and he used it to run away. So mid inhibitor under threat again. This is looking like a triple inhib situation here. FlyQuest looking like...
Yeah, watch Shochi on the flank. He's going to get flashed on actually by the big frontliners of FlyQuest Challengers.
Oh, they got him.
He's going to get caught out. That is a pick before the fight even starts. But look at Kenvi finding an ulti onto Quad. Array dishing out tons of DPS. He flashed out of the Nexus Towers to take Quad down. Sturdy's burning. He uses the Ram stance to try to escape, but Faisal's cooking him just like Supernova's cooking in this game too. We've gone 40 minutes. We've gone 2 games, and we're headed to another one. Supernova are going to even things up at 1-1.
We've seen it once or twice before, but Supernova remind us again, even FlyQuest can bleed, Andrew, because, wow, it was a very clear win con from them, it was all about the 5v5, and it was always starting off with Shochi and those pop blossoms. He found so many good angles, and even though he got caught on the end, it didn't even matter.
Man, yet another game where FlyQuest are going to drop, and Supernova did what Maryville was able to do. They took a game. Can they go further? Can they win the series? Give FlyQuest Challengers their first loss of the LCS Challengers League season. We're going to find out in a couple of minutes. We'll be right back after this break.
They said it couldn't be done. They said the world would never accept a cookie this long. Or a churro, and probably not a pretzel either. They also said, under no circumstances should those really long and delicious treats be wildly affordable. To which we said, but we already made them. And they are. Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.
The thing that has surprised me the most is how much better the tier 2 teams are than the tier 3 and college teams.
I think definitely fearless drafting has been really surprising, but just the overall skill level of the league has gone up in my opinion. And that's been really fun for me as a competitor, and it's just been really nice to see for the scene overall.
It was more just last year, the switch between the academy and NACL. Now it's the only thing that changed for me is just the fearless draft. That's pretty much the only thing that surprised me, honestly.
I guess DSG, they're not doing so good. Somehow they lost to us. I'm not sure about TL. I don't know. It's hard to say because I think both teams, TL and Disguise, their top laners are still top of the table, right? In the league. But something's not clicking. Maybe top is just weak. If your best player is in your top lane, it's not going to get you wins, Probably want that guy to be on the carry, right?
How good my teammates are and how bad everyone else is. TL or DSG, and look at them. You can't have names like that on your roster and fail. And if you are failing and you're not taking active steps to fix that, which I think TL are, but I don't see DSG doing, I think that's a failure as a professional player.
Trying to work on my consistency. I think I'm good at a lot of things, but sometimes I'll get in my own head, not feel very confident. That'll affect my play. So keeping up my level of play right now.
I'm still getting solo killed a bunch, so that's not changed at all. I guess I'm working on my laning. Sometimes I just find new ways to die randomly. Definitely just focusing more on my laning, watching VODs, all that, focusing more.
Definitely my laning phase. I think coming into tier 2, the level of matchup understanding and just controlling lane is a lot more important, especially in the bot lane meta right now with Kalista and Lucian Melia and all that strong early game stuff.
Right now, I'm just working on my consistency. I know I said that for a little bit if you've been following my story, but I really think I can be the best player in the world if I just get rid of all my mistakes. But I just got a little bit too many of them right now. But yeah, that's my #1 goal.
My mid-game tempo usage is the most important thing. When it comes to pure laning, I'm already better than basically all of the tops in LCS. I feel pressured to always be doing something because that's the kind of league that I've been taught. But there are certain times when sitting around and doing nothing is a better course of action. Quad, Rocco, and Sheetan specifically, I'd say Jay is the biggest help with this, which is surprising because he's a jungler. He doesn't let me cope, which is really good. I don't cope a lot, but maybe in the moment immediately after doing something, I'll be oh, that's not so bad. But then we go back and look at it, I'm okay, that's pretty bad.
So understanding better of what my role is, because I feel last split, I had more freedom in the champs I was picking. This split, I'm trying to play more of the meta champs, I would say. Understanding more of what my job is and understanding what I need to be calling for as a carry role.
My individual skill. Let my gameplay flow into my teammates. Sharing my ideas more pretty much. Kind of got to know the difference when to take a back seat and then when to be hard calming as a jungler.